There is a great saying that I think would create a greater sense of empathy if more people understood it. And that saying is, it is expensive to be poor. Welcome back to my channel. My name is Reese, and in today's video, I'm diving into the expression, it is expensive to be poor, and how having an awareness of this could help you save money in the long term and potentially keep you out of financial hardship in the future. Think about willpower. Willpower is something that we exercise when we feel strong. Now, being poor is a constant and consistent drain on our mental and our emotional energy. It's definitely harder to make a conscious decision to not spend money when you experience financial hardship, as sometimes you just need a hit of dopamine, and that can come in many different forms and factors, such as eating out, impulse purchasing, or buying an item that you've really been wanting for a long period of time. It's also really difficult to make conscious decisions to plan ahead with your finances, as during this period of time, your focus and your mentality is focused on the now, because you need to focus on the now to just scrape through. A simple real-world example of this is buying in bulk. I am able to buy a big pack of toilet paper, let's say 24 rolls, for $10, because I can think ahead and go, okay, if I buy that pack of toilet paper, then I'm going to have enough stocked up for a long period of time. It's an upfront investment of $10. Great. Whereas someone on a budget or someone who isn't really thinking ahead might only buy a single roll toilet paper or a few single roll toilet papers valued at $2 each. And you do the math. If they're buying them at $2 each to get to 24 rolls, it's going to cost them $48, which is almost 4 times what I paid. They're just examples. The price of toilet paper is different in every country, especially in countries that you can't get at the moment. But the point is that financial planning, and it's something as simple as buying in bulk, can save you lots of money down the line. So there's a difference here in where your mentality is at, depending on the position you're in financially. An even better example of this is dress shoes. Let's go more expensive now. I have 2 pairs of quality boots which I wear daily or almost daily, and I will do so for the next 20 years. These boots are timeless, they look great, they are comfortable, and most importantly, they are durable. The upfront purchase cost me about $900 for both pairs when I work it all out. Now, when I work out the cost per wear, and I'm going to do so in a second, the overall or outcome cost is significantly cheaper than if I was to buy a new pair of shoes every single year for the next 20 years. Just as a quick exercise, let's work it out roughly. I purchased a brown and a black pair of RM Williams boots. The brown pair was $600 and the black pair was $300. So let's just treat it as one item totaling $900. Now let's assume that I wear them for roughly 5 days a week for the next 20 years. Let's see what the cost per wear comes out to be. There's 365 days in a year and we have 20 years. To get my average, I divide the number of days in a year by the number of days in a week times by the number of days in a week that I'm wearing them. So it's 365 divided by 7 times 5, and that equals 260 days per year I'm wearing them. Now, if we multiply that by the number of years that we're going to carry out, we get 5,200 days worn total. And this is rough and approximate. There'll be weeks that I don't wear them every day, but roughly when I'm going to work and when I have functions and things like that on a weekend, this is what I'm doing. So now if we divide the total cost, so $900 by the number of days, we get 17 cents for every time that I wear them. So now the opposite, let's work out if I was buying a new pair every single year. So let's work it out. So one pair of shoes for 20 years at $100 each, roughly, that's going to be $2,000 for the approximate cost. If we divide that by the same number of years before, it's going to work out to be 39 cents per wear. So just in a simple math example, and yes, there'll be so many factors that change this, but just as a general rough example, it's double the cost. So even if I wore them 3 times a week, it would probably still be cheaper to buy the more expensive product in the long run. On top of this, you have to understand that I'm wearing a premium and quality product that looks good, is stylish and timeless, like I mentioned. Whereas the cheaper end shoes, they fall apart quickly. It's a nuisance to have to go buy new shoes regularly. They don't look as good and they definitely won't feel as good because they're not made with premium or quality products. Ultimately, making it very clear that the initial investment, the foresight of that future investment is well worth it. just like math checks out. Like just do that, like follow the math. Now it is a hypothetical and not everyone will fall into this category, but it's just a real world example of like, I know people in my office who do exactly this versus what I do. I'm not saying that I'm right or they're right, but I definitely know that I'm going to get the usage out of these shoes, and I'm not going to go on about it. But the point is, I think you can see the point, is that there's more to the story than just buying something cheap because it's cheap and you going, okay, this is going to work out to be better. Because in the long run, if you think about it as from a future perspective and you plan ahead, you'll find that it's actually the latter that is the way to go. The overall point here is, if you take a step back and look at how fortunate I am to be able to make these initial investments and think of all of the things that I could apply this to, there could be so many different applications that this logic can be applied to. I'm going to save thousands, tens of thousands, or even hundreds of thousands of dollars in total over the coming decades, just by using this logic for almost anything that I possibly can. It's that simple. It's that simple. Just apply this logic, and especially for purchases that you find yourself making regularly, find ways to buy in bulk as an example, or think ahead to avoid paying more in the long run, because upfront costs are a little bit annoying at time to time, but I'm never going to have to buy another pair of dress shoes. Never. I'm literally set for the next 20 years. I know people that have had these ones in particular for longer, and it's not that they eventually look dingy or anything. No. They look exactly the same as they were before. Same with the toilet paper. COVID hit. My parents had stocked up a year's supply worth because it was so cheap, like 2 years earlier. My parents haven't bought toilet paper in 2 years. The point being that like it just didn't affect them. They had the opportunity to buy up front, and they took that opportunity, and it has paid off monstrously. Rant over. The main reason that I'm going to throw down and say why I've had the fantastic opportunity to do this and will continue to have this opportunity is because I plan ahead. I plan my finances out in a way that allows me to not have to worry about them in the long run. For most things, there's always things on my mind about it, but for small things like this, I'm always thinking ahead. And you don't have to be every single minute of your day, but definitely things that are consistent, and definitely things that you can plan for without it costing too much of your energy. And I'm going to continue to do this in the years to come. Now, a small YouTuber, you might have heard of him. His name is Casey Neistat. It's probably pretty safe to say you have heard of him. I lied, he's not a small YouTuber, he's one of the most popular YouTubers. He created a video called Being Rich vs. Being Poor, which I made a reaction to, so definitely check out that video in the description below, because I've linked it. I've linked the video as well if you want to just watch Casey. But out of this video, it's really, really good. He dives into his own experiences of living in poverty and hardship, and kind of ties it into his new experiences of having a pretty lush life because of the world that he's created through his YouTube channel. The key takeaway from the video, without spoiling it, is that money, if you're broke, will generally solve all of your problems. On top of the everyday normal problems that you have, such as finding happiness, love, fulfillment, and things like that, call them life problems, you have money problems, such as how are you going to put food on the plate, pay your bills, how are you going to get to and from work, like you need to pay for transport, or you need to service your car, things like that, which add a whole nother level of emotional and physical stress on your body, because you need to figure out how to survive. And that's why it's a really good video, because Casey has an actual experience of living through both, and he gives that experience and puts it into an entertaining video. So I highly encourage you either watch my reaction to that video or his video alone. Both of them are good. I'll let you decide. What I want to tie that into this video is that these additional problems can technically be something that you control. I can't force myself to be fulfilled in my job or making YouTube videos. It's something that I choose to do, and luckily I really enjoy doing this, but the point is I can't make myself feel fulfilled doing it, but I can control my finances. I can plan ahead, I can think about it, I can take steps to improve my finances, and so can you, and I encourage you to do it. And it's something that can completely remove all of those types of problems over time. It's not a simple thing, but it's not overly complex. It just takes time. This, in my opinion, is why systemic poverty is so hard to escape, and the path to financial independence, or even just general savings or good savings habits, is so helpful. Even if you never reach your end destination, it is expensive to be poor. Overall, I hope you enjoyed today's video. I hope that it was insightful, and I hope I've encouraged you to start taking steps towards getting your finances in check. It takes time. Time is the only complex thing about it, is you need to invest time. It's not hard, and you can take baby steps to get on that journey. If you enjoyed today's video, please consider liking and subscribing. It really does help the channel. Check out Casey's video that I have linked below, or my video, reacting to his video if you wish, and I will see you in the next one.